Yo, what's up, y'all? Good evening to you. It's your boy AC. Thank you for joining me tonight on Sign of the Times on the Hope for Us Twitch network. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope everyone's well. I hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. Got to see some, your friends, your family, maybe. Maybe you got to eat a bunch of food, But I hope everybody had a good, safe, happy holiday weekend. Mine was fantastic. I kicked it at the crib. Watched, how do I turn my head on the screen? My Lions. Watched my Lions play like I do every year on Thanksgiving. Kicked it with my dog Phoenix, who's over here crying because he wants to play, like always. But it was good. It was good. And glad to be back. Hope all y'all out there safe and doing well. So this episode, Sign of the Times, just gonna talk music and stuff. Just we're gonna talk about music, of course, like we do every episode. There's a hip hop group that really means a lot to me, and I think that they are legendary. They are iconic. They've been in the game for a long time, at least 30 years that I can think of. All the original members. This hip hop group, when I first saw them, I adapted to them very quickly at a young age, just because they were so different when they came out, and I was so different, and I took to them very, very quickly. The group that I'm talking about is De La Soul. These guys are from Long Island, New York, Long Island's finest. They've been in the game for a long, long time. Definitely have shaped hip-hop culture in a lot of ways. Their music, their style, their look, their attitude, the way they perform, the way they carry themselves, just everything that you can think of. You got Plug One, who's Pasta News. You got Plug Two, True Boy the Dove. I think I say it wrong every time. And then you got DJ Maceo. Man, these dudes, they are hip hop in every sense of the word. They came up in the 80s. I want to say like late 80s, early 90s. The first record that they dropped was 3 Feet High and Rising. Hip hop classic. Look it up. It's a classic record. Came out on Tommy Boy Records, which was back in the day was a huge hip hop label who had everybody from like who did Tommy Boy have? They had like Naughty by Nature. I want to say Coolio, rest in peace, was on that label. Queen Latifah was on that. House of Pain, Stetsasonic, Digital Underground. I could go on and on and on. But back in the day, Tommy Boy, they were one of those, they were the hip hop, they were one of the top hip hop rap labels back in the day coming up. And De La dropped 3 Feet High and Rising, and that was like classic. It had tracks on it like Me, Myself, and I, had Buddy on it, Potholes on My Lawn. Just crazy record, just so different. And they had skits on their records too, which a lot of people weren't doing that. I don't think a lot of people really do that now, but they had skits on their record. They were dope. The record that did it for me, I could easily say this would be in my top 20 records of all time. And there's a lot of records out there. Would be De La Soul Is Dead. That had Saturdays on it. A roller skating jam called Saturdays was on that. They had Millie Pulled a Pistol on Santa, which was a crazy song. that dealt with some very, very crazy, you know, unfortunate, you know, subject matter. You know, Hey Love was on that record. It was, you know, that was a classic record to me. You had Prince Paul, who was a hip hop legend in his own right. He was a producer. He was in Stetsasonic. He produced this record. You know, De La pretty much helped get them on. That record was huge, 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 huge. And then they followed that up with Stakes is High, and that record, you know, because at the time, you know, when that record came out, Stakes is High, when that record came out, hip hop music and rap was definitely changing. It was going from like the pure art form of the music and lyricism and skills and this and that and the other to like being flashy and clothes and money and cars and, you know, the big shiny puffy coats and this and that and the other. And, you know, and they kind of went after that, kind of like made fun of that in a way. And that record was so huge. It had Stakes is High on it. It's So Easy, which had cameos from like Moni Love, Kid Capri. I'm telling you, these are like hip hop legends that did so much for the music and for the culture as well. I've spoken about something called the Native Tongues. De La Soul is a part of that. You had A Tribe Called Quest. You had De La Soul. You had Jungle Brothers. You had Queen Latifah. You had Moni Love. It was just this group of hip hop artists that formed together, believed in the same things, you know, beliefs and all that. I'm trying to talk about the Native Tongues over here, Phoenix. You got something to say? And they were just huge in the culture, just huge. There are no words. They're just the greatest. If you ever get a chance to see De La Soul, if they ever come around, I strongly urge you to go see them. I've seen them twice, for sure that I can remember. I know that sounds crazy. Been to a lot of shows. I saw them. The first time I saw them was 90 something, late 90s. I want to say late 90s, early 2000s. It was at the Detroit Electronic Music Festival, also known as DIMF. I don't think they have it anymore, or they do, but they call it something different. It was like a techno festival for a whole weekend in Detroit. I think they held it at like Hart Plaza, and they would have like, you know, sometimes they would have like rap or hip hop groups. And I'll never forget, De La came out and performed, and they had the big like Mickey Mouse gloves on. Like, it was so dope. They were so good. And then I saw them at Riot Fest, and man, they're just so good. Like hip hop in the truest form, like straight up, like in the truest form. Man, I swear I've seen them another time. I know there's a third time, and I'll probably forget it as soon as the stream is over. And then DJ Maceo, I've been lucky enough to see him actually spin DJ sets, and I've seen him spin two DJ sets in Chicago. I saw him spin once at the Empty Bottle. That was cool because Ed Lover was there. For those of you that don't know who Ed Lover is, he was a VJ on MTV back in the day on a very influential show called Yo MTV Raps. He is now a radio DJ here in the city of Chicago on 104.3 Jams. He's got a show at night. I want to say it's starts at 8 o'clock, called the Ed Lover Experience or something. Check it out. But anyways, I saw Maceo spinning. at the Empty Bottle. Ed Lover was there, and it was crazy. It was the coolest thing, just like watching Maceo. And then another time I saw Maceo spinning, there used to be this like pop-up bar that was like connected to Emporium and Logan Square. It's not there anymore. Now it's like, I guess it's a dispensary. Anyways, I saw him perform on the stage in this place, and literally, like I was seriously stood probably like 10 feet away from him and just watched and just took it all in. Amazing. Maceo is also good for calling people out at his shows. So if they're rocking a show, rocking the crowd, and he sees somebody that's out there like messing around on their phone, texting or on the phone, or like he'll straight up stop the vinyl. Yeah, stop the vinyl. And like get from behind the decks and run out and be like, and he'll call somebody out. Seeing him do it, it's dope. Truest MCs, true MCs. They unfortunately they went through some problems. One with Tommy Boy. They kind of had got a bad deal with Tommy Boy. And then the other thing was that they had back in the day, a lot of hip hop sampled a lot of artists and a lot of things. And they sampled a group called the Turtles. They sampled a group called the Turtles. Used something from their song "You Showed Me" or something like that, and like one of their sketches. And this group sued them, like put it like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against them for like, it was like $2.5 million, something crazy like that. And like, you know, with that, and then, you know, the stuff with Tommy Boy, it kind of, it messed him up on their royalties. You know, they couldn't stream their stuff. You know, you can't find their stuff on Spotify. I dare you, look for it. They've probably released I don't know, 7, 8, 9 records. You won't find any of it on Spotify. I don't think you'll find any of it on iTunes or anything like that. You know, you might be able to find some stuff on YouTube here and there, but, you know, with, you know, that lawsuit and the, you know, the bad deal with Tommy Boy, you know, it took away from them, you know, and they weren't able to get, you know, the money, the things that they were due, that they were rightfully due. Royalties, masters, you know. It's unfortunate. It happens in the music industry a lot. And it's extremely unfortunate that it happened to De La Soul. The one good thing that finally did come out of this is that I want to say around June of 2021, I want to say. 2021, 2022, 2021, I think. They got their masters back, which is huge for them. Not only having their masters back, having full control of their music and everything, which goes into that licensing and everything, but like finally be able to get paid what they so rightfully deserve. Like, so rightfully deserve. I think, who was it? The company was called Reservoir Media. I think that's what they would call it. They bought out Tommy Boy's. They bought out Tommy Boy's label, or their whatever they had. They bought out Tommy Boy. It was a lot of money, and that's going to be able to free up De La so they can actually get their music out there, streaming. you know, so more people could hear it, you know, which is very, very nice. I could truthfully probably go on and on and on for days about De La Soul, because they are truthfully one of the best hip hop groups of all time, hands down. They're still relevant to this day. A lot of the things that they speak about in their music back then is still very relevant to this day. They're legendary, true legends in the form of music. So check out their music. Go find them on go find them on YouTube, because they're not streaming anywhere just yet. They will be soon. You know, that stuff takes time, legalities, this and that and the other. This is going to be kind of nice. This is actually going to kind of tie in to the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, this next segment. You know, excuse me just a second. Talking about De La makes me thirsty. They're so dope. Like I said, because of, you know, that lawsuit or whatever, you can't really find their stuff, you know, streaming and whatnot. You know, and streaming is, you know, usually great. You can find whatever you want. But for a group like De La, and I'm sure many other artists out there, if you want to find their music, you actually got to go to the stores. You got to go find it. You got to go to your record shop, your record store. You got to go find it. And I feel like nowadays you truthfully have to go to a record store to find music. Back in the day when I was coming up, record stores were everywhere. You know, I mean, not only, of course, you had your Best Buys, but, you know, you had your Sam Goodies, you had your Harmony Houses, you had your Tower Records. You know, you had all those joints, you know, that you could go to, and you could actually go pick up, you know, a cassette tape or a CD or a record, you know. And the thing that I really loved about that I enjoyed, was that I could open that up and I could, you know, I could nerd out on the music and everything about it. I could see who did the artwork for the record. I could see who produced the record, who was the engineer, you know, like that was, you know, like there was so much to learn from that. You know, you could see where records were recorded. You know what I mean? Like, oh, whoa, they recorded this, you know, at this studio in Red Rocks or wherever, or, you know, they recorded this, you know, at that famous studio that so-and-so was talking about, you know, like there's so much more in like physical copies, so much more that you can get from. And it's crazy. And I feel like a lot of that is kind of lost now with music and the way that things are, you know. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, like I love being able to just pick up my phone and just boom, I can play it, you know. But there's just something about walking into a record store and picking something up and taking it home and actually like sitting down with it and like reading it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like I can grab this Wu-Tang record, right? I can grab this Wu-Tang record and I can read everything on it, right? Like produced, mixed, and arranged by Prince Rakim the RZA for Wu-Tang. For those of you that don't know, the RZA had another project before Wu-Tang even blew up. And his stage name back then was Prince Rakim. I mean, there's so much in this. Like, you know, mastered by Chris Gehringer at the Hit Factory in New York City. That's like legendary. Like, you wouldn't believe how many records like came out of the Hit Factory in New York City. I mean, art direction, Jacqueline Murphy, photography, set, like there's so much cool stuff like on physical copies of records that like you would not know if you were just streaming. Like if you go to Spotify, you know, and look this up, you know, it's not going to tell you, you know, that the A&R for this was Trevor Williams from Loud Records, you know, or that the executive producer was Robert Diggs. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so different. Like, you can really, you learn more about the music. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Let's do another one just for fun. Because now I'm like, this is like, just to like kind of show you guys what I'm talking about, you know? Sorry, I don't mean to be getting all hype about it, but now I'm like pumped. Let me find another record. Sorry, I got so many records up in this joint. Let me find another one. Hold up. We'll just do this. We'll just go ahead and we'll just go ahead and grab a whole crate. That's how we do it on Sign of the Times. We just, you know, we do what we want around here. So I'm gonna find another record just for fun. What is this? Jimmy Eat World record. Which one is this? Bleed American. This is a great record. This has like praise chorus on it in the middle. Produced by Mark Trombino. Man, that's ill. Just like, there's so much in music that just gets missed. Here's one. Let's check this one out. Oh, that might be too much. I'm not going through that. That's a Michael Jackson Bad Special Edition record. I'm going to have to go through a lot of stuff to find out some stuff on that one. Forgive me for being so nerdy. I'm just, you know, just trying to prove a point. Like, there's so much cool stuff. Anyways, I'm just saying, like, there's so much cool stuff, like, in physical copies, you know? Let's try this one. This will be the last one I try. I promise. Nirvana, right? We'll try this one. Produced and engineered. See, I didn't know this one. Produced and engineered by Butch Vig. I had no idea that Butch Vig did Nevermind by Nirvana. That's crazy. Butch Vig has done everything. Like, he did Garbage. I'm sure he's done some House of Pain remixes. He's been everywhere, you know, and that's what I'm talking about, you know, like physical copies to streaming. Like, what are the pros and cons, you know? Sure, streaming, boom, at your fingertip, or hey, I don't know, Alexa or Google Play, do this, and it's there. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's just something about holding, you know, like physical copies of records, you know, Chili Peppers, Mother's Milk, you know, like, it's crazy, you know, like, just to like see who did what. I think that's a huge thing. I think that's also missing. And there's a lot that goes into making these records. You know, there's so many behind the scenes people that don't get their true props, their true credit that they should. So, yeah, streaming, physical copies, whatever your preference, get the music. Me, I always try and get it physical if I can, just because there's so much you can learn from it. Just so much more, you know. I love it. I really enjoy it. It's beautiful. So, Chili Peppers. That's a whole nother thing we'll talk about later on in the show. Kind of funny. So, that being said, we're going to move on to the next segment. This is going to be kind of like almost like a tribute, almost, unfortunately, in a way. I'm going to give props. You know, this segment you know, every episode I try and give props to women in the industry that, you know, maybe have not got the props that they should so rightfully deserve, if you will. People that are huge, have made an impact, have paved the way, you know. And the person that I want to talk about real briefly tonight is a lady by the name of Irene Cara. Irene Cara was she was an actress, she was a dancer, she was mostly known for her role in Fame. Before there was Glee and all that other stuff, there was Fame. Fame was real. Took place out in New York, like a talent, you know, dancing type school. And she was in that. Her name was I think her name was Coco in the show, maybe. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. But she was amazing in it. She was great. She lit up the screen. She was great. She did the musical. She also the movie Flashdance. The What a Feeling song that you heard. I know you've heard it. I'm not gonna sing it because I am definitely not a singer. But the song What a Feeling from Flashdance. Oh, Scott. Yeah, you got it. Can we play a quick clip of it?
There's nothing but a slow dream that your fear seems to hide deep inside your mind. All alone I have cried silent tears full of pride in a world made of steel, made of stone. Where I hear the music, close my eyes, feel the rhythm, wrap around, take a hold of my heart.
Man, that song, I love how that song starts off all chill, and then when it hits, it just and those synths, the synths in that song is just, it hits you. But that song that she did for Flashdance, and I feel like in a previous episode on Theory and Beats on the Tomorrow Show that streams every other Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Hope for Us Network Twitch channel, like how I did that. We on one of the Theory and Beats episodes, we did the elements of hip hop, and one of the elements was breakdancing. And there's a scene in that movie where the main character ends up doing some breaking in part of her dance routine. And I feel like that song was used for that clip. But that song, she co-wrote that song. She also she got an Academy Award for that song for Best Original Song, and she also she got a Grammy for that for Best Female Pop Vocal, which is amazing. That's awesome. And it doesn't stop there. You know, she's definitely gotten so many other awards and all sorts of other things in her time. Excuse me, in her career. You know, not only, you know, did she sing, she was big in Broadway. She did a lot of touring. She was in Jesus Christ Superstar. She was Dorothy in The Wiz when The Wiz went on tour. She was Dorothy for that. And then she, you know, and like I said, she's written, you know, she wrote the song "What a Feeling" for Flashdance. She's also got 3 other studio records to her credit. She has done backup vocals for Lou Reed and Oleta Adams, just to name a few. I mean, she's like one of those underground legends that just truly never, I feel like, never got her props, and it was sad to see her go. But Irene Cara is amazing. You know, and if you want to check out more of her work, please do search her out on YouTube. If you like musicals, if you like Broadway, she's amazing. She's great in all of it. I would strongly, highly suggest you check her out. It'll be you will enjoy any and everything that you see her do. Excuse me, I promise. So that's my little props, my little segment to Irene Cara. Rest in peace. You will be missed, and yeah, you'll be missed. That being said, we're going to move on up out of here. I feel like this episode is just flying by, or maybe I'm just talking really fast. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. Couple things I want to talk about real quick before we end the segment. Of course, don't forget to check in to Sign of the Times. Every other Friday. We got another episode coming up in a couple weeks, the 16th. I do believe that's going to be the season finale holiday show. I got some surprises for y'all. I ain't going to tell you yet, but I'm working on some surprises. Also, make sure you tune in to the Tomorrow Show every other Sunday. Got a new episode coming up in a couple days on Sunday with Aaron D and Mike V. We got a very special guest. I can't wait. I don't want to say who it is just yet because I don't know if I'm allowed to. I think like we just booked and confirmed this person like today, like this afternoon. So tune in to see who the special guest is. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Before I leave you, real quick. So every year, as I'm sure all of you know, Spotify does this thing where they've pretty much been tracking everything you've been listening to all year long. And at the end of the year, they give you your Spotify wrap up. I've been seeing a lot of people posting things online like, oh, here's my top this, or here's my top that. I got a friend of mine that apparently she ended up listening to a lot of this one particular artist, and it's an artist that I don't really care for. I'm not going to say who it is because I'm not going to do that like this on this. But she had tagged me in something, and I was like, oh man, like everyone's got their top and who they're listening to, and it's kind of cool. It's interesting to see, you know, what people are listening to, what you've listened to in the year, and it's interesting. I was kind of surprised. I was also, I feel like I was cheated. In my Spotify top songs or whatever. So, excuse me. This is why I say I feel I was cheated. So, this is my podcast. I'll break down my podcast real quick, and then I'm gonna say why I was cheated. Okay. So before we get into all my tops, hold on a second. Before we get into everything, I'm gonna tell you why I feel I was cheated. So not only do I play drums for, you know, a couple, you know, original bands, you know, the Locals and Coke Dick Motorcycle Awesome. Excuse me, and you know, Mason's Case. I also play drums for a cover band. This cover band does weddings, casinos, venues, whatever, right? I just got this gig literally earlier this year. Like, just got the gig, right? And a lot of the songs I hadn't heard. So I was listening to a lot of these songs that I had never heard, or maybe had heard like maybe once in a while. So I can like learn the songs to be able to play them. So a lot of these songs popped up in my top 100. Like people like Neon Trees and Maroon 5 and not to take away from any of those acts, but had I not been in this cover band, a lot of those groups would not be in my top. I feel like that took away from like what I was really listening to and what I was really, really into. Shout out to Neon Trees and Maroon 5, though. They write great music. But I feel like in that sense, my top 100 songs was kind of cheated in a weird way. The other things were very kind of spot on to a certain point. Okay, so Scott earlier had posted one thing, and the first thing that he had posted was like podcasts, like my top podcast. I love podcasts. I like listening to podcasts, especially like, you know, when I've got to drive, you know, long hours to get to shows, this and that and the other. You know, I like to listen to podcasts. And that one time on tour, great podcast, just stories with other artists. Krista makes a podcast. That podcast, he talks to artists, and they break down the song, how it was written, what it was written about, like everything to the key and chord progressions. It's amazing. One Life, One Chance. That podcast is with Toby Morse, who is the lead singer for hardcore punk band H2O, who is a huge punk influence on me. I could go on and on about him. He's a great person, very positive, strong, positive mental attitude. I would definitely check that out. His guests are great. The One Hit Thunder podcast it's a podcast about, you know, one hit thunders, and they talk about, you know, hey, was this song, you know, thunder? Was it dope, or was it a blunder? And was it just horrible song? Great podcast, and the information and stories behind some of these songs and artists is incredible. I would definitely check it out. And then, of course, number one podcast would be Drink Champs with DJ EFN and NORE. If y'all haven't checked out this podcast yet, you're slipping. This is huge on hip hop culture. It's been out for like 5-6 years. I randomly started listening to it during the podcast, and the thing that I loved about it is that they have so many like old school legends on the show. You know, they had like MC Search from Third Base on the show. Talib Kweli's been on the show. They've had Chappelle on the show. They had Faith Evans on the show. Alicia Keys. Possibly my favorite episode of all time is with Miss Patti LaBelle. It's an amazing podcast. There's so much in that they talk about in the hip hop culture with their guests that it's I guarantee you will love it. And if you don't love it, tell me and I'll do 10 push-ups for you. I guess. I don't know. I don't know where that came up from. Maybe I need to start doing push-ups, work out. I don't know. Anyways, Drink Champs, awesome podcast. Check it out. Shout out to DJ EFN and NORE. Y'all are doing something big, and it's amazing. So that's my podcast. What else were my tops, Scott? I don't remember. I got some more stuff, right? Oh, my top genres, right? So this kind of surprised me a little bit, but I guess it wasn't too far off. Number 5 was soul. Looks like number 2. Looks like that was funk. Looks like, what do we got? Pop was number 3. Rock was number 2, and number 1 was hip hop. That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. I would think that maybe there would be some sort of like hardcore in there because I listen to, I don't know, some hardcore, but that's pretty accurate for my top genres. You know, and it's funny. It said that that this year I listened to 54 different genres of music. 54 different genres of music. Okay, cool. I don't know how. I that's awesome. That's a lot of genres, right? Maybe. I don't know. How many genres y'all listen to? Am I just that much of a music nerd? I don't know. Who knows? Scott, what were my other tops? What else we got? Ooh, my top artist. So, number 5, we had Royce da 5'9". Royce da 5'9", probably other than, probably other than Eminem and Proof. In my opinion, Royce da 5'9" is probably one of the best MCs to come out of Detroit. And overall, he's probably one of the most underrated MCs in the hip hop game. His flow is a flow that I can truly say is his own. Like when you hear one of his joints on, you know it's him. You're like, that's Royce. Royce da 5'9". He's a bad dude. I would definitely check out his stuff. Bad Meets Evil. And speaking of the Drink Champs podcast, he is on an episode of that, maybe 2 episodes of that. And he talks about his in one of those episodes he talks about his struggle with addiction, with alcoholism, and talks about how he overcame that addiction and what he does to keep himself going. It's very, very uplifting. And it's nice to hear someone in hip hop, talk about that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that it's not talked about it, but not as often as it should be. You know what I mean? I feel like there's still kind of that stigma there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyways, Royce da 5'9", he's dope. Ill. Check him out if you never heard of him. Of course, number 4, Biggie. Dude's only got 2 full-length records out to his credit. One of those being a double LP with, features and spots here and there. But he still is my number 4 top artist. What else can you say? He's like one of the greatest storytellers in hip hop, next to maybe next to like Slick Rick, or even like Eminem in his younger days. That's just my opinion. That's just me. Don't come after me. Number 3, this one kind of surprised me a little bit. Chili Peppers. I do like Chili Peppers. I've seen them. I saw them once on the Californication tour. It was amazing. I didn't think that I listened to that much Chili Peppers. But apparently they were one of my top artists, number 3. I will say that Flea is without a doubt probably one of my favorite bass players of all time. I mean, solid in the pocket, man. That group, you know, they're just I guess they're my top. I would probably have to say my favorite all-time song by them is Soul to Squeeze from the Conehead soundtrack. That song just it gets you. It's a good one. It's a good track, good song. So yeah, shout out to the Chili Peppers. Let's see. Number 2 would be also a Detroit homie. Marshall Mathers, also Eminem. Number 2. That was my other top artist. I don't know what else to say. I just he's just that lyricist, and a lot of the stuff he says to me is kind of funny. Granted, a lot of the stuff that he said back in the day probably would not go over so well today. You know, he's grown as an artist, and I can respect that about him. And I mean, he's one of the best. Just his wordplay. He's very clever. His stage show is great. I've seen him a few times in concert, and I think he's solid. So makes sense. Top artist. And my number 1 top artist would be New Jersey's own, straight from the Brick City, Redman. Reggie Noble. This one kind of surprised me, but not really, and made me super, super happy at the same time. Redman, he came out in like 90, 91, 92. I think his record, What the Album, was his first record that he dropped. He pretty much got put on like through like Eric Sermon from EPMD, who was like another old school classic hip hop group from back in the day. But Redman, there was something about him when he first came out that just like really drew me to him. Something about his word flow, his delivery, and like his look. Like he looked just grimy, like you know, just like, you know, just had that look about him, and I really liked that. And just he was just so different, you know, like he was just real. Like that was one of those things you could tell about him. He was just like that real person that made me like that. He drew you in. So it kind of makes sense that I spent how many? 526 minutes. Yeah, 526 minutes listening to Redman. That's a lot of minutes. Wow. But Redman, he's amazing. And another thing about Redman, for those of you that don't know Redman, right? Like I'm telling you, like one of the things that like attracted me to him was like just how real he was and how honest he was, and his flows, his delivery, his look, just everything, right? So back in the day, way back in the day, MTV used to have a show called MTV Cribs, where they would go to an artist's house and they would see how the artist was living, and they would have like these cars and chandeliers and all this like stuff, right? Like, of course, come to find out like years later, like a lot of that was fake or it was staged or whatever, right? And so they approached Redman about it, and he was like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. You know, mind you, this is like early Redman. I think like, I think Doc's the Name, maybe his second record, or Dare's a Dark Side. It was either like, this was like early on his career, like right around like the first or second or third record that dropped or something. I don't know, but they approached him. They're like, hey, we want to have you on our show, MTV Cribs. And he was like, all right, you know, whatever. And they were like, okay, so here's a list of places that, you know, that we've got for you. So they like had like these like houses or whatever already set up for him that they wanted him to go to and be like, oh yeah, this is my crib. And he's looking at it and he's like, no, you know what? Y'all go ahead and y'all keep that. He's like, here's the address. Y'all come here. And so gives them the address. They show up, you know, to film the episode or whatever. How many days later or whatever. They show up and it's his like little 2-bedroom spot in Newark, New Jersey, or somewhere in Jersey. Excuse me. And like it's real. Like you go in, like the kitchen's a mess, like the living room's got stuff all over it. His cousin Junebug's just like sleeping, passed out on the floor, and like his Timberlands and hoodie and jeans. Like Redman's giving him a tour of the crib. He gets to the kitchen and like he's like, you know, sometimes if you need some bread, I just go to the dollar box. And he goes to this like shoe box. What's that? He goes to this yeah, there it is. He goes to this shoe box on top of his fridge. And he's like, yeah, if I need some bread, I just get some money out of the dollar box. And like when he's like walking them out of their place, and he's like, yeah, if y'all ever need to come by, just rub these 2 wires together because the doorbell doesn't ring. It was like the most hood episode ever. And like he told a story about it that I just heard him talk about recently. He said that when the crew showed up, it was like 6 of them, like a few camera people and a couple other people, whatever. And they showed up and they walked around and they looked at his crib and they're like, what? And I guess they like went outside and had a meeting, and I guess everyone left, and it was down to just like a cameraman and like a boom person or something. But his episode of Cribs was probably a classic. Scott, can we fast forward it to like a little bit into it just to like let them see like just a small clip? Classic. I don't know. That was classic episode. I wish there were more things like that were out there, but there's not, and that's okay. But I love that episode. It was awesome.
Everything is in here. Over here is where I keep, like, you know, stuff I don't use. Like, you know, you know how you got a shoebox of in your house? Well, I keep that in the kitchen. This is what I call the dollar box. If I need some money, I just run to the dollar box and go get me some bread or some juice, what I need. You know, it comes in handy. You should keep one in the house.
That's hilarious. Oh, man. But that's Redman. So that's by far one of my favorite MCs and probably why he's my top artist of 2022. I think that was the last one, right, Scott? That was it? I think that was it. No? Oh, no. Maybe this is the last one. So let's see. In 2022, my total playtime was 23,000. So in 2022, my total playtime was 23,056 minutes. I don't know if that's a lot of minutes, but they said that that's more than 75% of other listeners in the United States. Do I listen to too much music? I don't. What does that mean? Can anyone let me know your numbers so I can compare to let me know if maybe I should take it easy on the music? I don't know. That's a lot of music. 23,000 minutes of music. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love music, I guess. That's pretty cool. So that was that's my Spotify wrap up. You had about, what is that? 22,000? Okay. All right. So that's good. That's good. So maybe I'm average. Then that's good. That's good. That's good. But yeah, that's the Spotify wrap up. And actually, we're gonna wrap up the show. That's gonna wrap it up. That's gonna be it for us tonight. I want to thank all of you for tuning in on this evening. I hope wherever you are safe. Take care of one another. Make sure you tune in to join us this coming Sunday for the Tomorrow Show with Aaron D and Mike V and our special guest. Can't wait for you to see this person. It's going to be awesome. And I will see you all in 2 weeks for the Sign of the Times season finale holiday show. I'm super excited about it. Got some surprises for you. It's going to be an awesome, awesome, awesome good time. So with that being said, make sure you follow us on all the socials, Hope for Us Network, and I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. Look out for one another. Stay safe. See you in a couple weeks, y'all. Peace.